I'm Nick Harcourt. This is Guitar Center Sessions. Please welcome our guests, KoRn. I'm Nick Harcourt. We're here with the guys from KoRn. We've got Jonathan, Head, Monkey. First of all, thanks for coming in. And I have to say, there's probably never been as much noise in this room.
It was really loud.
Yeah. I think I'm the only guy who didn't have earplugs in.
Earplugs in? It was definitely a trip.
That's how we do it.
I didn't have earplugs in.
I want to talk about your career, obviously. There's so many questions.
Okay.
20 years.
Shoot.
35 million records.
Yeah.
Grammys. When you first started the band, was there a plan then? Did you know what music you wanted to play?
It was just drink as much beer as possible. It really was. And then the music came. We were kids. So.
Yeah.
What were you influenced by at the beginning, though? What were
Oh
you
my
listening
gosh,
to?
it was a mixture of things.
stuff.
Tell them your influences.
I'm an 80s kid, all in the new romantic scene, all just really new wavy electronic music. Everything that the opposite of what the band was. And I think, what else? I liked Faith No More. That was like the heaviest stuff. But then you guys
Yeah.
came
What about
up
you
with
guys?
Faith No More, Metallica, Prom.
Sepultura.
Yes. Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah.
Rage Against the Machine. Everything just mixed in a bowl. And then hip hop stuff too. We loved the realness and the craziness of like the gangster rap when it came out.
Yeah.
And just just how honest it was, and so it was just all that stuff mixed together.
But was that a conscious decision to pull all these influences together to create something new? Because you created a new genre.
I think it was like, oh, let's use this. Doesn't that sound like, this one sound in an Ice Cube song? Let's use this,
The biggest band ever we ripped off was Cypress Hill, I think.
Yeah.
All their samples they used.
Like even
we
the bass
replicated them.
lines
Yeah, the
and
bass
stuff.
lines and him using those old horn hits. That and we did them on guitar.
Stuff like that, yeah. So.
Stuff. It's just we bit them a lot. But other than that, I think it was a mixture of all the shit we were into at that time.
When you were writing the lyrics at the beginning, where were they coming from?
All those lyrics on the first record were coming from just life, my life. Yeah, from childhood, high school, all the bad stuff that I had, built up all those years inside me. They just all spewed out. I used the lyrics to get them out.
What's the difference between how you control the sound live as opposed to when you go into the studio? You mentioned, obviously, a producer who will bring something to it, but what's the difference playing the songs live?
It's live.
I mean, to me, it's sort of when you record the song, it's just kind of this, you're capturing an idea, a collection of ideas all at the same time, and you record it. So each time we play it live, it's kind of like resurrecting something from the dead. It really is. Because it's, you're recreating this moment over and over again, night after night, and there's a beauty to that, and there's imperfections, and that's one of the beauties of it too. It's live. You never know what's going to happen, but it's hard to control too. It's because you can't really control. I can't control his guitar or what he's going to say or the drums. So there's that sort of like just crazy freight train you just kind of hold on to and hope you make it to the end.
Something lost and never seen. Every time I stop
I mean, obviously the band has evolved and the sound has evolved as you would expect over a period of time. What do you think makes for a great KoRn song, though? What's the ingredients for a great KoRn song?
It's banging,
It's like
melodic,
passion, yeah,
passionate, makes you move.
yeah.
Always the best ones are like the dancey, heavy stuff that makes your body move.
grooves,
You
yeah.
groove.
Do you think you have the same opinion of that as your fans?
I don't know.
I think we kind of know what our fans like. Like when, you know, when we write like a Freak on a Leash or like, you know, we picture them going like this, right? Like
Yeah.
hopping and stuff and mosh pit and stuff. So I think we know, but then we take chances too. Like a Got the Life was a chance that we were taking. We were like, well, that sounds like a little disco beat. And then our new song, Never, was taking a chance too. So it's just like, you know, we know what they like, but we're willing to piss them off and take chances.
We always want to challenge what they think, and I think that's what we wanted to do in the beginning of this band. Is we didn't want to be a traditional metal band. We've always wanted to push the envelope and try different things that, you know, people weren't doing, and people still aren't doing some of the things that we're trying to do. And it challenges the listeners and it challenges the fans to sort of like give them opinion. You know, do I like this or do I not like it? You know, I think it's good.
Apart from being heard, what matters to you most about your music? I mean, a lot of bands will say, we just want to be heard. But what matters to you most about the music? Is it the message?
I would say just how many people it's helped.
Yeah, man.
We're meet and greets when we're doing whatever, and we meet fans and said, you know, this song saved my life. I was going to kill myself, or I wasn't, you know, your band is the one that got me through this hard time. That is, I think, for us now, that's what's all worth it now.
So let's back up a little bit to playing the LA music scene, obviously, and you got a record deal with Immortal and Epic, or through Epic.
Yeah.
How did that come about, and how quickly did things start to happen for you?
We got that deal playing San Diego a lot. We got signed out of Dream Street, remember that?
Yeah.
It was this little club we played in Ocean Beach, and guy Paul Pontius came and watched tons of our shows, and we had other labels that were interested, and they were like, okay, come on, let's just do a demo deal. And we had like Atlantic and all those other people coming out, like, we'll just put you in the studio and we'll do a demo and see. And we were like, no, screw that. You know, sign us
But it
up.
really was Paul Pontius and
Paul,
that
yeah.
talked Happy Walters into like, these guys really have something golden here. It just has to be polished up, and we'd worked with Ross before, and that's sort of how
because
that
he did
all
our
came.
demo. So
We actually sort of, that kind of went hand in hand, I think.
it came. Yeah, Ross came with the package.
Yeah, he did.
Because we did that demo. I'd only been in town. I got in the band only, it was 2 weeks, and we did that demo. And then a year playing in clubs up and down California. And then I guess we created this little buzz, and before we know it, we were signed and doing our first tour, doing our first record. It's kind of crazy.
But the record obviously hit and got attention and really did sort of create a moment for other bands to come along and start playing the same genre of music, obviously influenced by you to a certain extent. I mean, if you think about bands like Limp Bizkit and Slipknot, and radio changed as well.
Yeah.
Because radio had never played this music before. I mean, that must have been a big part of the commercial success, obviously.
I mean, everything was overwhelming. There were so many things happening. I couldn't keep up with that moment. Remember, we all went crazy. We all disconnected for about 4 or 5 months. Remember when we all went cuckoo? We all lost our minds because we lost our ability to be able to go out in the crowd and hang out with the crowd. We couldn't go down the street to get, you know, a drink. It was just like all this stuff was happening. All this, people were all looking at us, and every one of us all lost it for a while. I mean, then we got through it and accepted it. But at that moment when, like, when was it? When it really hit, Got the Life and freaking Leash hit,
Yeah.
we all went insane a little bit because we lost our freedom.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? I mean, when you say you went insane, I mean, what impact did that have on you individually?
I remember me and Reggie fighting a lot.
It was a depression. It was like a depression and an anger and like
angry and
like
we were bitchy at each other.
divisions started to like happen in the band a little bit, you know. But we did get through it, and we became, you know, stronger for a period, I think, after that, like on issues and then.
Yeah, it was really hard was because we were a band that would always, even when we first started, we'd play our set because we'd always go on first, and then we'd hang out the rest of the show, handing out cassettes.
Yeah.
That's when you had the cassette samplers that would have Blind and Clown on it. And we'd go
Yeah.
out there and hand those out. And after the show, we'd end up going to fans' houses at beer keg parties and hanging out. Remember, we did all
Yeah.
kinds of fun stuff that normal people would be able to do that we just had that taken away from us. So it kind of sucked.
So you really sort of had to hide for a while?
Yeah, we couldn't do stuff like that.
It was sort of like just learning. It was a big learning curve, I think, because
Yeah.
also here's all these guys that have no money, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden Sony gives us a shitload of money, and then
That was when record labels had money.
Yeah.
is when record labels had money, and then here's these 5 guys who all have addiction problems, and you're throwing money on top of them.
So we just went
And
crazy.
It was just like, that's where the crazy part came in. Because we were having fun, but then we were also having to be sort of secluded in our private life because there was this public now that wanted a window into what we were doing. And it was kind of a balancing act that we were unbalanced in, I think.
I'll never love again. I won't ever to pretend. I'll never love again.
Did you guys really know what you were doing at that time? I mean, it sounds like you were just in a complete whirlwind.
Yeah, it was a whirlwind. That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
How'd you get out of it?
Well, I quit.
He quit.
Well,
That slowed the whirlwind down.
Well, let's talk about that. Why'd you quit?
Because I was in a whirlwind.
Good answer. But what was going on with you personally
It
that
was
made
the
you...
addictions. It was, this guy cleaned up his act. Like, you know, after, remember when he was telling you about we got really big and he cleaned up his act? The rest of us went Richter for
They
like
went Richter.
Yeah,
5
we
more
went
years or
nuts.
Yeah.
more or something like.
I was the
kept
sober
going.
one.
Yeah, so I went insane, and I wanted to either end my life or find happiness. That was it.
I don't want to dwell on anything that's too painful for you, but I mean, when you talk about that moment in your life, can you really give us a description of what you were going through that made you have to step away?
Yeah, well, I remember when we were doing, I think it was Take a Look in the Mirror. Yeah.
That was it.
Or a little bit before that, I started getting into pill addictions because I was doing coke like crazy, and so to come down, I was doing like Xanax, and then then I got a wisdom tooth pulled, and they gave me Vicodin, and I was like, hey,
It's all over there, right?
I like that. So I called up all my doctor friends and started ordering Vicodin.
Doctor friends.
And then, or whatever, you know.
You'd made a lot of doctor friends, obviously,
Yeah.
on the road.
He used to have bags, like Ziploc bags.
Yeah. And
I was
so,
like, holy, I remember when you pulled one out, I go, what the fuck is this? It's all nothing. And I was like, oh my, that
Yeah.
was the most Vicodins I ever saw in my life. It was one of those 2 gallon, those big Ziploc. How the hell
it
do
made
you
me
take-
sick, you know, and then I was like,
Yeah, you
okay, I
had to
got to
do
get off
detox.
that. And then I got off that, and I
remember
was
you got
like,
off that.
yeah, I was doing the squirts and all that in my hotel room, and
Oh,
the
that's
aches and
horrible.
stuff. So I got off that. Then I started doing a lot of coke again, and then I swore I was like, okay, I'm just gonna chill out and chill out. And by that time, I moved back to Bakersfield, where KoRn grew up, and I was hanging out with this dude, and he's like, hey man, I got this employee that has some good crank speed, and I was like, I don't do that no more. 2 more beers later, I was like, call your boy up. So I did a line, and next thing you know, I had a 2-year habit of crystal meth, and every day, and I took it on the road, like all over the world with us. They didn't know it.
I was going to say, I mean,
We had no clue.
you guys had no idea?
We all had our own. I had my own addiction problems with drinking,
Right.
and it was hard to see that when I was in a cloud.
Well, you were in your own haze.
Yeah, I was in my own.
and
And
I
you?
was worried sick about all of them.
He was
Yeah.
worried about all of us.
I would
He
go on the
was.
heads bus. You all right, man? Get out of here. Monkey, you cool? Ugh. Reggie, you know what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
David, ugh. Everybody was pissed and just, I was the only sober one.
He was really helping me, like with my doc, because my wife left and stuff because of crystal meth and all that. So I was a single dad and all that. And him and his wife were helping me.
Yeah, I always hang out with Janaea.
Yeah.
and
So it was like
I was the
just
only
crazy.
sober one.
How'd you handle being the only sober one in the band?
Because if I didn't stop, I wouldn't drink just to have a drink. I'd drink to get drunk to the point where I'd puke, and then I'd go puke, or I'd make myself puke, and then I'd feel better, and I'd drink,
Carry
start
on
all over
drinking.
again.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of an alcoholic bulimic.
So you stopped first,
Yeah, 98.
obviously. I'm interested, did you guys have any of these addiction problems before?
No.
I think we did, but it wasn't.
You didn't have enough money to indulge
It wasn't
them?
until we had money to really
Sure.
let them come to
Yeah,
the
to do-
height that they came before,
do it.
come crashing down.
So how'd the rest of you guys handle it when he left?
Oh
Oh,
man,
we were pissed.
it was hard. It was hard.
It was jacked up. It's like one day you're there, one day you're gone. And we're just sitting here all, ugh. So there was a lot of questions unanswered, and we didn't know what was going on, and we were all sitting in shock to find out that Head was a meth addict and all that shit, because I was always, what is wrong with you? You to get pissed at me. I'm like, man, you need to eat. And you'd be all, shut the fuck up, man. What the fuck? He'd get all mad at me, and I'm like, I'm worried about you, and leave me alone. And then it was the same throughout the band. I was just like, I got to the point where it's like, screw it, I'm just gonna mind my own business. And I think all of us had to go through our personal hell to figure
Yeah.
out how to get sober.
Once you left, and you said you left because you had to stay alive, what did you do? What was your recovery? What was your process of getting your life back together?
this church in Bakersfield I ended up going to, and it was like, you know, my heart got shattered over and over just by me trying to kill myself.
By your own behavior.
Yeah. And that's why my marriage broke up. That's why, like, all kinds of stuff. And when I went into that place, it was like love entered my heart. And it was like I came back to life. I wanted to live again. All of a sudden, I was like cursed with all these positive thoughts in my head. I was like, well, you know, just you're going to be happy. You know, you're going to be okay. And so ever since then, I just did that. And I looked at my daughter and I was like, Janaea? She's like, yeah. I was like, I'm going to quit KoRn and I'm going to be here with you. I'm going to take you to school every day. She goes, really? My daughter, because I was gone all the time. And so seeing her face, I was like, this is all worth it, you know?
A lot of people don't make it. What do you think it was inside you that managed to pull you out of that?
Just, it was, I didn't have nothing inside me to pull it out. You know, I felt that love enter my heart, and then hope entered me, and I was like, I can do this. And that was it, you know? And I was instantly addicted to that. I wanted that love, I wanted to feel that, and I wanted to raise my daughter, and I wanted to sit at home and get away from the rock star life, man. It felt like such a vacation. You know, meanwhile, these guys are pissed at me, and I'm like, you know, and it wasn't all roses either. I was like, it was hard to leave because it was like, that's my life, you know? And so, but my daughter outweighed that stuff, you know? And so it was like a big vacation though for a while. I didn't have to go on a tour bus. I didn't have to go into hotels. I had a home for like years. It was really cool.
When did you get to the point where you decided you wanted to come back, and how did you guys react? I mean, how did that come about?
Just fell into place.
Fell into place. I remember, I think it started, I mean, him and Fieldy kept in contact. I think the first time I saw him was when I went to that show where we held in Bakersfield. And I hadn't seen you in 9 years, 8 or 9 years. And we went to that show. His band was playing, and I just went and hung out with him on the bus and saw the show. And then we went back to the studio that night. I played in Path Totality. It was tripping. It was just good to hang out. We didn't even talk about music or nothing. It was just good to have my buddy back.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then, you know, I remember I wanted to take my daughter to a concert they were playing to see these other bands because she loved Evanescence and Chevelle and all these other bands. And she was starting to get into KoRn too. I'd catch her and I'd be like, hey, what do you listen to? And she's like, I like this song. So I was like, all right, that's cool. You know, it was one of those old songs. But so I take her there, and I ended up, like, I was like, I got to see Monkey, man. This has been like 8 years. This is crazy. You know, so I went on his bus and talked to him. And it was just like, it was surreal, you know? And then they asked me to jammed a song, and the reaction was just incredible. Everybody got emotional. There was tears. And I was like, you know, a couple weeks later, me and him talked, and I could just see that this is the moment, the time was now for just to reconcile, you know?
I want to talk about the music, and obviously you play loud music, you play, I don't know, angry music to a certain extent. I mean, you've talked about the lyrics. What do you think it was about the time that you guys came up and when you hit and had that continued success, with and without you, obviously, but had that continued success, about the social, economic climate that the audience related to what you were saying? I mean, it seems like you guys reflected a moment out there, but at the same time, you might have also influenced it as well.
Could have. I mean, at that time, nobody would talk about the stuff I was singing about. Nobody heard a 7-string guitar unless you were a jazz guitar player. Nobody had heard any of this stuff before, so I think it really struck home, and a lot of people could relate with it. I think it was a mixture of two, the lyrical content and the sound of the band. It was this funky, groovy, heavy music with this crazy guy screaming about his childhood over it.
Yeah.
And it just fucking hit a chord with a lot of people.
But you do that for a while, and does there come a point where that's the sound and that's what we have to keep doing? Were you always
No, we
pissed
never.
off?
Yeah,
Are you still pissed off?
of course. I think everybody is. We all go through bullshit in our lives.
Right.
I just choose to sing about it. So, I mean, that bullshit never goes away. So I always have something to sing about.
Do you see how peaceful this guy is? He's so nice and so like gentle.
You're
'Cause
also
hey,
calm after wating the performance.
It's because we get it all
Well, we
out
get it
on
all out.
stage. It's our
It
therapy.
is our therapy.
What do you say to critics who might say, you know what, there's impressionable kids out there, and we live in a violent time, and there's, you know, horrible things happen out there. We know that. We see it on the TV all the time. Do you feel any responsibility around that? I mean, you're not the first band to be tagged with this. I mean, Judas Priest got it, Alice Cooper got it, Robert Johnson probably got it. But how do you feel about that?
I mean, I don't think we're responsible for what any one individual does. Like all those bands got screwed over Priest or Ozzy when the guy killed himself. They tried to sue him and all this stuff. Heavy music or heavy metal has always been a scapegoat for when anyone does something bad, they'll blame it on that. And so, oh, he listened to that dark heavy metal music. It must be that's got to be the problem. That we're responsible for that. I think it's the people that do that crazy shit. That's their problem. But it seems like the press and everybody puts that on you when you don't really want that to be. I love any band for me. I don't look at them as a role model. I just like their music. Honestly.
Let's just back up again a little bit. See you on the other side. That was a big change, obviously.
Yeah, that's when we started doing more electronic kind of stuff.
New record label as well.
Yeah, so we went with Virgin, and that was a fun time.
That was fun. We had a lot of fun doing that record. We had the Matrix producer, their team of producers come in, and it was actually Scott Spock helped me a lot on guitar, and he's a really phenomenal drum programmer, and that it was a lot of experimenting. And when Brian had left the band, I sort of needed that push, because I had all these guitar duties, and it was nice to have somebody like Graham and Scott helping with that more melodic side that Brian used to, that he has in him. But those guys were definitely a big help on that.
So did you feel, though, like you now had an added responsibility to push?
Oh, yeah, I did. We talked about bringing someone else in, and it's kind of crazy because we never put anybody on this side of the stage, and, just kind of out of respect for him.
One person played, it was Sonny Skrillex, played in his spot.
Yeah, that's right.
He did?
Yeah.
It was
I'm
the only
gonna
one we
sue
left.
No.
Yeah, out of all
No,
those years.
Yeah, we never put anybody over there, and there was a reason why, because
Yeah, it was saved
meant
for
to.
me.
He was
Yeah,
meant
it
to come
meant,
back.
right?
And,
I remember
Yep.
when we hung out that night, your man, will you let Wes go out? I go, no, remember I told you? I go, no, we're
Yeah.
saving it for you.
Did I say that?
Yeah. You're all, will you just put Wes up there? What are you doing? I'm all, that spot's safe for you, bro. And you're all, oh. I remember we were in the truck saying that. I remember
What,
that.
in Baco?
It was in Bacon on
Yep.
that show. You're like, man. Go, nope, that's your spot, dog.
Let's come up to date. Let's talk about the new album, The Paradigm Shift. You're back.
Hell yeah.
I'm back.
You're back.
You're back, hey?
Tell us about the album.
It's just an amazing record. I mean, what can you guys say about it? It's everything that we hoped it would come out to be.
It's my favorite KoRn record
Why?
because song quality.
Yeah.
Lyrics, vocal melodies, choruses, and it's got everything that I've always wanted in a KoRn record. And the other ones came close. You know, like Leader came close, Issues came close, but this one just does it for me. It satisfies me. Completely satisfies me. I love everything about it.
Glad you're satisfied.
Obviously, you're in a very different place than you were when you left.
Yeah.
Does it feel like a first album in some ways?
No, it's weird because it has a vibe of the early days, yeah, but then it has a 2013 futuristic sound too. So it goes backwards and forwards at the same time, and that's what we were hoping to do. You know, just have a cool sound on this record. But I just think we accomplished just that and way more on this record. You know.
What were you guys hoping to capture on this one, and where were you with lyrics this time around?
I was just hoping to finish the damn thing and not be dead. For me, writing it, I was in just a haze. I was detoxing off benzos.
Is benzo Xanax?
Yeah,
Okay.
benzodiazepines.
Okay.
Horrible drug.
How come you don't know that?
Any good rock star should know it's drugs.
No, because I called him Xanax.
He
So I
called
was
him
like, or
Xanax.
benzo Xanax.
But it's
Benzodrine.
benzodiazepines.
Oh, okay.
It's Xanax, Valiums.
Just want to make sure we get our
Oh, it's stuff
terminology
right.
right, you know, our pharmaceuticals right.
Yeah.
But that drug's really, I've been on it for 3-4 years, and it rewires your brain, and it really messes up your head. So I went in and kicked that, and it took me 6 months to kick that. I mean, the actual withdrawals last 2 weeks, and I had extended withdrawals, and so I wasn't even really there.
Well, how'd that mess with your creativity?
I don't know. It totally, it did something. I don't know what it did, but what I did was, once guys, we picked out all the songs we were gonna do. They started doing guitars, and I moved into the studio, and moved my 2 little boys in with me, and Don. And when they went off to go do guitars, and the band wasn't there anymore, that's when I started in on Don. And I sicked my sons on him because he was really like about business and very hard, stern man. He looks like the white Tiger Woods, very yuppie. You wouldn't think this dude does rock records at all or have any clue, but he's a genius.
Yeah, he is. He's really
So
brilliant.
I sicked my kids on him because he didn't have kids. He knows nothing what kids are about. My kids started making him laugh. We started opening up, and then that's when we really got into the record. And I sang melodies, and we started doing lyrics, and he started getting up, dancing around the room, and screaming, yeah, and just not Don Gilmore at all. And that's when it really started to get fun. And that's when the magic stuff started happening. But it was cool. I'd sit there, and Don would be there, and I'd have my 2 sons over in the corner telling them, shh. And then when I get done with a take, I'd look at my boys, is that good? And they'd tell me yes or no, because kids are the most honest, pure thing ever. So I was like,
how old are your kids?
my 2 kids that were there were Pirates 8, Zeppy 6. So I'd look at them, and they'd be all yeah or no. And then I'd look at Don, and Don would pretty much back up when they'd say it sucked, and all that. It was just a good atmosphere. I never had done a record in that atmosphere.
So your 2 sons A&R'd
They did.
the record.
yeah.
Basically.
They were little punks, but it was fun. I never done a record in that kind of environment, ever. It was so fun. Just, I don't know. It was usually, back in the day, I'd have chicks and drugs, and it was all that, the whole rock and roll fantasy, but when I got older, I had the most fun on this record I think I ever had on any record.
guys were always on a major label until now.
Yeah.
This is an independent release. Obviously, the music business has changed substantially, and I'm imagining that might be part of the motivation for being independent. But why did you decide to put this one out yourselves?
Why not? Our managers came out with they had a label, and we saw what they did with other bands they had on their label. We've done the major labels, we've done independent with like Roadrunner. We're like, well, let's try this. I think that was pretty much it. It's like, let's try this out.
Yeah.
Is there a freedom that comes with that?
We always had freedom. I'll let you know that from day one. We told Ep to go stick it up their ass from day one. When
Right.
people come in, oh, you need to do this here and that. We're like, nope, no. And that's how we always ran things, because we were just arrogant, drunk kids at that point. And someone coming in trying to tell us how to do our music, we were like, no. So we never ran into that shit.
And we sold records for them, so we had that authority, you know. We were
Well, yeah, if you sell a couple of million records,
Yeah.
they'll leave you
Then
alone.
they left us
Until you
alone.
don't.
Yeah.
like we're doing something right.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
So even from the first record, we didn't let anyone really up there, remember?
But it's interesting, we talk about selling a lot of records, obviously. We started off this conversation by saying 35 million records. People don't buy records anymore.
No, unfortunately.
So,
I buy records.
I do too.
I do too.
All us old folks buy
Do
records
you?
still.
Do you steal records on the internet?
I do not steal records. But,
I actually listen to try to find new bands.
Kids do.
And then try to find the record.
Right, but my point being is, I guess as a business model, it's gone.
Yes.
So moving forward, I mean, I'm presuming you guys made a little bit of money along the way, but moving forward, you still have to support yourself. So what's the plan?
Play shows. Like that's all you make your money on T-shirts and shows, and that's pretty much it. You use the record's a vehicle to get people to your shows, so that's how it's changed.
I ran out of money in 2009. I was fine. I moved into a little apartment condo thing. I was fine. I was totally happy. So I really don't care. But we're just doing it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you guys have accomplished what you set out to do?
Yeah, and more. Like they said, we'd be lucky if we sold 90,000 records.
That's
that was
true.
Happy's Walter.
Yeah. The guy that signed us on his label.
You'll be lucky if you sell, what does he say, 80,000
Yeah.
records.
And man, he didn't even believe in us and he signed us.
He signed us.
So we did way more. I mean, I thought like 300,000 records would be like
Huge.
ginormous.
We had
So
no clue.
when we did all that great big stuff, I'm like, are you kidding me? This is too much. It's too big.
I think we're still, honestly, I think we're still, it's a process. It's a career spanning achievement that's ongoing. I don't think we've really, I can't wait to make another record,
Me either.
honestly.
Well, that was going to be
thinking
my
about-
next question. What's the future hold? I mean, more touring, obviously. But
Yeah. It's about getting in the room again and figuring out what we're going to do.
I don't want to do that for 2 years.
We're going
I wanna
to
tour
be
this
on the
record.
bus. We're going to be
Yeah.
touring for a long time, but
Well, I'm going to grab your ass and put you on my bus head, dude, and monkey, and we're going to write some shit.
Okay.
Because that's what I do. When everybody's off partying, I'm sitting there writing music on my bus. That's how I got through all the years without getting jacked up.
it's been so great talking to you guys. Thank you so much.
Fun, bro.
You
Thank
too, man.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
That does it for another edition of Guitar Center Sessions. My thanks to KoRn. Until the next time, I'm Nick Harcourt. Thanks for watching.